To be or not to be? Is that a clever name for an AI with 2 billion parameters? I think so. AI is still so new that a lot of what you see is basically proof of concept and testing grounds. One thing I think that's interesting in all the research that's being done is these small models that are around 2 billion parameters. It shows that you can save compute power on the training and reduce the amount of compute power needed to run it, which is promising for running small models on edge devices like laptops and possibly even phones. One promising language model in this area is Gemma 2B. I did a video about that. I'll link to it in the description. Also, there are some fine tunes of Gemma 2B that are coming out now, and I wanted to test one. The creator of this one actually was watching this channel and posted a comment, so I thought it would be interesting to do a video about it. From what I can see on this page, the censorship level is very low. That's good because we like uncensored models on this channel. And I also noticed that there are two quantized versions of this, one by M. Rodermacher and one by Bartowski. I used to do a lot of quantized versions of models from the bloke on Hugging Face, who has not really uploaded in a long time. There's rumors that he got a job somewhere. He has been too busy to do this. I've been noticing that there are some quantized versions from M. Rodermacher and Bartowski of various models that have been popping up, so I've been keeping an eye on them lately. I've noticed the quantized versions actually have a lot more downloads than the original. So here's the page for the original version. You can see it has 77 downloads last month. When I go to the M. Rodermacher version, it has 844 downloads, and the Bartowski version has 847 downloads. I'm not sure why, because the original model runs just fine on my RTX 3080. I didn't necessarily have to use the quantized version hardware-wise. You can see over here, when I click the load button and it says loading, it doesn't take that long, and it loaded the whole thing into memory, no problem. I'm going to go ahead and take a guess for this. So 1024, and let's say 0.5, and save it. And a weird thing about the text generation web UI is after you save, it kind of refreshes this page, and you have to go to the pull-down menu and select My Preset so it loads it in. Just something to be aware of. Then just another quick note, I noticed that the original version and the M. Rodermacher version have a 2K context window, while the Bartowski version has a 4K context window. So I'm just going to scroll down and make sure that chat instruct is selected, so that's correct. Now I can start with the testing. What is the average distance from the Earth to the Sun? How long would it take a vessel to reach the Sun from Earth traveling at a speed of 13,000 miles per hour? Okay, so this is interesting. It basically got the math correct, but I noticed it answered the question twice, and in the second one, it said the same amount of time, but it also added the distance. And I don't really know why it did that. Interestingly, it also calculated or factored in the escape velocity of the sun. It kind of went deep and explained its reasoning, so I'd say this is pretty good. Physical world problem solving. I have a straw and a beer bottle with a marble in it. The beer bottle is glued to the floor. How can I get the marble out without breaking the bottle? This added way too many steps. It says submerge the straw and then use a lubricant so the straw will actually go through the bottle, then apply suction, then use a wedge underneath the bottle to lift it. It says you're in a hurry, you can just skip right to option number 4, which would be to place a wedge under the bottle and apply pressure with the straw, but none of that makes any sense. Only option number 3 is what you need. Just use the straw to create suction and make a vacuum. So I'd say this one is a fail. Serial versus parallel. It takes 25 days for a man to grow a beard. 3 men grew beards. How long did it take for them to grow beards? This is horribly incorrect. So first it goes on to this rant about, and our perception of time is skewed because the passage of time makes us focus on the changes in our lives, such as the growth of facial hair. However, the concept of time is a fundamental aspect of our reality and not just about the physical changes we observe. That's a little off track. Then it says 3 men grew beards, which means they had facial hair for some time before you started noticing, which is not relevant to the question. This implies that on average, their beards grew at a rate 25 days per day, which makes 0 sense. Now let's say they all started growing their beards on the same day. Since they all had their beards for 3 days, 25 days divided by 8 days, which again is not even close to right. Their average daily beard growth would be 3 days divided by 25 days, or 0.12 or 12%. So this makes 0 sense. This is like one of the worst fails I've seen. You're facing 2 doors guarded by 2 guards, one of whom always tells the truth, the other always lies. One door leads to certain danger, while the other door leads to safety. You can ask one guard one question to determine which door to choose. Which question would you ask? For starters, I like that it says this is a classic example of the Monty Hall problem. Monty Hall was the host of an old TV show called Let's Make a Deal. You can see that the show aired in the 60s, so this is a logic problem that's been around for a while. Next good thing I noticed, it says that there's a 50% chance you're asking the liar and a 50% chance that you're asking the truth teller. Part of the point of this is we're not assuming which one lies and which one tells the truth. So I like that this realizes there's a 50-50 shot. The answer in this one proposes something interesting. In either case, asking the door guard a question is a waste of time. So to answer your original question, the best question to ask is, what's the probability that I'll choose the right door? The question will give you the information you need to make a decision that maximizes your chances of success. So I suppose that's one way of looking at it. What's the point of even asking? You got a 50-50 shot anyway. Now a very basic Python coding test. I don't really expect these models to do any advanced kind of coding, but I like to see if it can make a calculator in an elegant way or if it just puts too much code into it. So write an addition and subtraction calculator in Python. Wow, look at this. Sai, I see you're interested in creating an addition subtraction calculator. That's a pretty basic operation, but I'll get you started. First it gave me some attitude, then it just gave me all these blank boxes. So, yeesh. That was a little uncomfortable. Anyway, let's test this for natural language processing and writing ability. I'm going to give it some instructions to write a letter that has a lot of instructions within it, just so we can see if a small model like this can handle a whole list of parameters that I give it for what to include in the letter. Write a complaint letter to Ridley Scott criticizing him for saying he liked the Alien Romulus movie. Though he didn't direct it, he said he liked it for whatever reason. Even though the movie sucked, had nothing important to add to the overall storyline, had actors who looked more like models than actors, the main character did not emote, the first 20 minutes was dull, and the ending was unrealistic even for sci-fi. In the letter, use profanity frequently and be angry and aggressive. To start off with, it gave all of this context where it's kind of like giving its AI opinion about the movie or kind of feeding back to me the feelings about it, even though I didn't really need that. I would have rather it just went right into writing the letter. In any case, I'll leave the letter up on the screen. Let me know in the comments what you think about this thing's ability to follow my instructions for the letter writing, and also let me know what you think about the Alien Romulus movie if you saw it. I really want to stress that newer computers that come out are going to have newer architecture that has neural processing built in. So that could be a CPU with a separate neural processor, or it could be a CPU with neural processor built into the same chip. In fact, Apple's new M1 chips are now a CPU, GPU, RAM memory, and neural processor all in one chip. That means the processing goes faster, and it's less time that it takes for different chips to have to communicate with each other. I think the new testing ground that is small models around 2 billion parameters is a good proving area for what's going to work on ARM systems, because you have to offload some of the compute to edge devices. You cannot just rely on data centers to do all of the AI processing. For small, simple things, and for use cases that are very streamlined and focused, you can run small language models on a laptop. I actually made a video with how to run an AI chat on a Mac laptop with an M1 chip. There's a link in the description, and I even show you what models will run on the M1. So if you got a Mac and you want to do a little bit of AI chatting on there, you can check that out. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I appreciate your time. I'm going to be doing this on a regular basis. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to continue curating AI language models that I think are particularly good, and I'm going to run them all through the same test because that's the fair way to do it. If you feel so inclined and it's within your means, you can click the super thanks button and tip me. It's not expected, but I appreciate it because I take a good amount of time to research everything and make and edit these videos. If you want to know more about AI, large language models, and also see instructional videos about how to run them on your computer locally or in the cloud, go ahead and subscribe. You can also hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I make a new video.